Hey everybody! Thank you for joining me today. Sorry it's been a little bit of a wait, but we're here and we're back to play with some techniques. We're going to do the bokeh technique again. I don't know if you guys remember, it hasn't been that long ago. We just did it probably around like October, November with the circles and creating sort of like the bubbles and doing our own little background. So I have three colors that we're going to be using, and I brought out my stencils that I showed you in my first video of the new year when I was explaining about my creative block, and I found the hexagon stencil. Yay! So we're going to have a few more of these. I know you're probably going to wind up getting tired of it eventually, but it's just fun. And you don't know if something's going to work until you try. So we're going to use these 5 stencils. The colors I'm using are speckled egg. We're using peacock feathers. And we're using salvage patina. So we're going to start with speckled egg. And I'm going to tell you, this was probably the smartest thing that I've purchased, especially when it comes to this technique. And I say that because using the paper, you get like one shot with it. So if you want to do it again, unless you're using those same colors or in those color families, your papers will always have ink on them. You know, you can't clean the ink off of that. Whereas with having now the stencil to be able to do, it allows me to be able to clean those as we go. If I wanted to change up or do a rainbow effect, I am so in love with this idea. Like, I'm so excited. And I didn't do it on this one, but you could even use your pixie spray on these, and that will give you a much more sturdy stencil, so that way you don't have to worry about it shifting and moving, because you're going to see towards the end we do another technique on here, and I think had I had the stencil sprayed with the pixie spray, I wouldn't have had some slippage. So we'll see that in a second, and I'll point it out to you when we get there. So thank you guys for joining me today as I'm filling in the different colors. And you can see we're using the 3 different size stencils. And I like the bigger circles, obviously, but I really have fun with the smaller circles because it doesn't take much time for you to fill those suckers in, and you can put circles all over the place. Little bubbles all over the place. I love it. But if this is your first time joining me, so usually on Technique Tuesday, I like to try something, whether it be like watercolor or smush technique, or, you know, different things. Sometimes it includes inks and mediums. Sometimes it's just maybe a new tool or a new product that I find interesting and I want to try. So that's generally what I try to do on these. But if you guys have any specific questions or techniques that you really want to learn more about, please leave a comment down below. When I tell you that sometimes doing these videos you feel stuck, I would not be lying to you. And I want to bring stuff that I know that you guys want to watch, that you want to, you know, enjoy seeing or maybe learn from. And I figured, go to the source, right? So I'm bringing it to you guys. I'm putting it in your hands. So if you've made it this far and you have always wanted to see or have someone explain something that you've seen crafters do, please leave a comment down below. I would so appreciate it. It'll give me a jumping off point and a way to schedule for the next coming season. So basically what I'm doing right now, I kind of feel like, you know what, I'm good with my colored circles. I want to try something else. So what I'm going to do is put all my lids back on, and I'm going to heat up my project here so that my distress oxides will, I'm trying to make them dry basically, because my thought was, what if we do some embossing, right? Because you think to yourself, oh, it's bokeh. Like, you see how people do it. It's always with inks and colors. So you have some that fall to the back, some that pop up. And I'm like, well, why not bring something even further to the front, like embossing, where you get that shine, the shimmer. I think this one would go good with gold, but today we're going to do silver. So I'm going to also take my my embossing basically powder here. And what this does is it protects your paper. So that way the embossing powder that you're about to use won't stick all over the place, right? Because there's natural static and electricity, and we're just trying not to have the powder go all over the place. So I'm going to do these 2 small ones, and I'm going to add one over here. And then we're going to do 2 big ones, but we're going to put the powder down first. And I'm using the embossing ink. It's the Dauber one. I was trying to find it. Of course, now I can't even see it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this one is from Distress. So it's the embossing Dauber. And we're going to do those 2, add some more powder, and then we're going to basically tap this off onto some vellum. I like to use vellum as my catcher because it folds and moves easily for me to be able to pour it back into the container. So all the circles did great except for the very bottom one. And this one kind of became the bane of my existence. I probably should have just wiped off all the powder on that one and just redid the inking. But instead I thought, well, let me just grab my embossing pin and I can put some powder back on it and fix the shape. It would make total sense, except it didn't work. I kept having to remove some powder and then put the ink down and then try it again. So it kept driving me crazy. So see right in there, there was that little just edge. For some reason it would not. So right there I took off a bunch of powder and then I went back with the pencil to rub the ink and then sprinkled the powder on it, and that filled it in. It started to work. But I left a little bit of it just kind of looking crazy, trying to clean it up with the brush here as best as I could. You know what I mean? You can only do what you can do. So now that that's as fixed as it could possibly be, there was a little piece of white stuff in my powder, so I cleared it out and then poured it right back into the container. Now, over the years, you've probably seen people use coffee filters. You can use whatever you have, whatever works for you. If you have an actual tray, like embossing powder tray, and that's what you use, then use it. Whatever works, you know what I mean? It's just about having something to contain it and make it easy to go back into the bottle. All right, and you can see just how fast this heats up. Now, we are sped up, but once the tool itself is hot, it does not take long. Now, I am going to do something here, and I don't suggest it. At one point, I'm just putting a little bit of ink down, but then I put my finger into the hot stuff. And you'll see here in a second. I don't know what possessed me. But yeah, I wind up messing it up. Let me see. So I hold it up and I'm like, that doesn't look like I melted it enough. So I put the heat tool on. And then I'm like, well, let me put my finger. Okay, no, don't do that. I don't suggest doing that for 2 reasons. 1, you'll burn your finger. And 2, you can make a big mess. If you don't put the powder back on it real quick, then you'll have a gaping hole in your circle. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just let it cool. Give it the time it needs. And then take your cloth and just wipe around, because we had the powder all over the whole entire paper. So I'm trying to just make sure to clean it off, so that way when I'm ready to go to make this into a layout, it's ready. I don't have to worry about wiping it down again. Okay. And don't mind the red, white, and blue. This obviously doesn't go with the teal, but I'm just showing you, like if you use a photo, how it could possibly work. I love the teal. Okay, now that will work with the purples. That's an idea. That's an idea. But how fun, right? So I think next time we're going to play with the hearts, since everyone's going to be getting into Valentine's Day soon. I think the hearts will be fun to see them done in sort of like this bokeh technique as well. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you with our next video.